A father stood at Jantar Mantar this month. His daughter, Riya Thapa, died by suicide after NEET 2026. He didn't come to Delhi to make noise. He came because he had nothing left to lose, and he still believed a march to Parliament might matter more than his grief staying private. That's who we are talking about when we talk about this protest. Not agitators. A father, a daughter who isn't here anymore, and thousands of students who decided to walk. 3 weeks. That's how long students sat at Jantar Mantar before July 20. 3 weeks of sitting, not rioting. Sonam, Wangchuk and many students on hunger strike since late June, not asking for the government to fall, asking for one thing: accountability for a broken exam that decides whether a 19-year-old gets to become a doctor or gets told, through no fault of her own, that her year, her savings, her family's hope meant nothing because the system leaked. Think about what it takes to prepare for NEET. The years, the coaching fees families stretch themselves thin to afford, the small towns where a NEET seat is the one door out, and then to find out the door was never fairly open in the first place. That's not a policy dispute. That's a betrayal. And they came to Parliament to say it out aloud. And what did they get? Barricades across central Delhi before they had even arrived? Tear gas at Parliament Street? Lathi charge near Shastri Bhavan? Near the RBI building? Near Constitution Club? Abhijit Dipke later apologizing to his own supporters, saying women were beaten by male police officers, saying he could have done more to protect the girls who came to be heard. Sit with that image for a second. Not a statistic. A girl, maybe your daughter's age, maybe your student's age, who walked to Jantar Mantar because she believed her voice still counted in this country, and who left with a baton mark for believing that. Over 170 people were hurt that day, and somewhere in that number is a student who has never thrown a stone in her life, who came because she had already lost too much to stay silent. Here's what I keep coming back to. These aren't professional agitators. They're teenagers and 20-somethings who did everything they were told to do. Study hard, trust the system, wait your turn. And the one time the system failed them catastrophically, visibly, undeniably, they weren't met with an apology. They were met with barricades. Riya Thapa's father didn't raise his voice for a headline. He raised it because grief with nowhere to go turns into a march. And a government that responds to that kind of grief with tear gas isn't managing a law and order problem. It's telling an entire generation exactly how much their pain is worth to it. This isn't really about one exam anymore. It's about whether young people in this country still believe that showing up peacefully in numbers with a father's grief and a generation's frustration changes anything. Every baton charge that lands on a non-violent protester teaches the next generation a lesson we should be terrified of them learning, that the system only listens to force. I don't want that lesson taught. I want a government secure enough to sit across from grieving parents and frustrated students and say, "You are right. We failed you. Here's how we fix it." That's not weakness. That's what accountability looks like when it's real instead of performed. So when you see footage from July 20, don't just see chaos. See a father who lost his daughter and still believed enough in this country to march. See students who studied for years and were failed by the one thing they trusted most. See a generation asking as plainly as they know how to be taken seriously. They didn't come to break anything. They came because something was already broken and nobody was fixing it. The least this country owes them is to stop treating their grief like a threat. Jai Hind.